Well, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to be back here again for yet another solo leveling reaction. So with that being said, yo peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another reading of Solo Leveling. Here's one thing that I didn't really touch on in the last chapter. Well, actually, yeah, in the last chapter when Jin was fighting against the monarchs, or the chapter before that when Jin came in to save Leonard Nierman. Leonard Nierman cannot catch a moment where he can have a triumphant showcase of his skills all to himself. Every time he's had a moment to shine, it's always been overshadowed by someone. The moment he was introduced was him being overshadowed by Thomas Andre talking to Jin. And then the next time he shows up at Jin's office and he's overshadowed by Thomas Andre talking to Jin. And then Leonard Nierman actually gets a chance to try and defend Thomas Andre, and we actually see him use his skills. But even that is overshadowed by Kaisel coming in, saving him, and then Jin coming in. It's like Leonard Nierman is one of the top hunters of the world, and yet this man cannot have a moment for himself. But that was then, this is now. It's time to read today's chapter. Chapter 160. And we begin here, and as you guys know, thanks for Cohagen linking to the site that I read from. Well, I mean, we're here in New York. We don't have like the title card going on here. We just have everyone watching all the monarchs fight. This is being televised. Here, it shows people in New York watching Jin fight the monarchs. It shows people in London tuning in. It shows people in Shanghai tuning in Paris. And then it gets the title card of, well, the number card. Chapter 160. Now remember, the gate is still over Seoul while everyone is fighting. And then we have Leonard Nierman right here. It's almost as if a storm is raging around Hunter Sung Jin-Woo. And then it shows some medics there tending to Thomas Andre, who's still woozy after getting his behind handed to him when the Beast Monarch decided to go full-on werewolf. And he's saying, "What's happening?" And then Leonard Nierman says, "I feel like I'm witnessing the end of the world." Well, let me change his voice up because I feel like Leonard Nierman's voice should be a little bit deeper. What's happening? I feel like I'm witnessing the end of the world. I don't want to make it sound too similar to Thomas Andre, so I'll watch that. Is he really the Sung Jin-Woo I know? And he's looking on in the distance as the monarchs are clashing. Oh, wait. No. That's Bayek saying this. Is he really the Sung Jin-Woo I know? I knew that he's a hunter that can grow, but just how much stronger did he become in such a short amount of time? And Bayek is watching all this, and he's actually kind of changed himself a little bit. Okay, so when he faced the Beast Monarch the first time, he tried to shift his form. You know, the sclera would turn black, his irises would turn yellow and glow, and his hair would turn white. But all of that receded when he was face to face with the presence of the Beast Monarch, and he was like, I'm not even fit to fight this guy. He's reassumed all of that, those changes in himself as he's watching Jin from a distance. And it shows the Beast Monarch fighting what looks to be Iron and Igris. Oh, Igris! Because remember, all of his commanders burst out of the ice that the Frost Monarch trapped them in after Beryl says, "What are you doing? Help our master!" And they all burst out, and then Greed is all like, "I will be the one to cut the breath of our enemies." Like, you... Greed flexing and bursting out of the eyes was a straight flex. But we have what appears to be Iron and Igris attacking the Beast Monarch. We have what appears to be Greed and Tusk attacking the Frost Monarch. And we have Beru, who's solely fighting against K-Resha. I know I said Q-Resha the last time, but y'all said K as in gay. But Beru is fighting against K-Resha right now. And then K-Resha says, "This jerk, this idiot." And then we have Jin, who I believe is facing... I wonder who he's facing right now. He might be facing one of the golems created, because I can't make out the shape and form that Jin is on top of right now of what this is. It might actually be... Oh no, this is K-Resha. He's right behind K-Resha saying, "The creator told me a prophecy that I will die from the pillar of flames that holds up the world. But he didn't tell me whether that pillar will actually fall or not." And it shows Jin using his daggers to slash across K-Resha's face. Now, mind you, she's enlarging her form, most likely causing a massive multitude of bugs to create a giant shape of herself. But he slashes her face just directly across in a crosshair-like pattern, and just slashes her face completely. And then it just continues to show the city in flames and the destruction that's in Seoul right now. And we have one hunter up here saying, "I've been standing by for a long time so I could snipe, but I don't think this is a fight I can interfere in." And now we get actual narration. "Since 30 minutes ago, the elite assassins of the Fiend Guild have been dispatched all over the buildings around this area. And once they receive a signal, they would pour out support fire towards the enemy like a heavy storm. And we may be able to inflict lethal damage to the enemy. But if that happens, how many of us would be able to survive? We would die if we failed at sniping. We would still die even if we succeed at sniping. Our opponent is a monster who not even Thomas Andre could subdue. It's about time for us to be making decisions." And then someone grabs him on the shoulder and just says, "Just sit back and watch." And then the guy who's supposed to be sniping on the building spins around and says, "Who's there?" And then sweat beads goes across his face. Who's the person talking to him that just says, just sit back and watch? And now we get more narration. "Hunters that have gathered for magical beast subjugation and evacuation, and not a single one of them were able to interfere with the ongoing fight. The fight between Jin and these monarchs are far beyond any singular person who was there. They were simply waiting for everything to be situated. The end of the battle seemed to be nearing." And then it shows Jin, who's apparently just been cutting up K-Resha's face, because he's landing after her face is split apart and starting to reform. And then her actual real body starts to form. And she tries to attack Jin. She actually tries to attack him with poison, with Jin saying, "It must be poison." And then we have the system saying, "Venom effects are still present in the atmosphere." And then Jin just looks back at her and just says, "Poison won't work on me." "Buff, starting cure using detoxification. 3, 2, 1. Detoxification successfully completed." You insolent idiot!" And she calls him something else. But she's quite beside herself that everything she's trying to use on Jin, like trying to poison him to death, status effect recovery, girl. And she causes insect appendages to pop out of her body, including one that's pretty much the upper half of a giant centipede. And then it shows her saying, "I will rip you apart into pieces." And then she stops. She stopped mid-sentence as Jin uses ruler's authority to try and grab her. And then she starts thinking, "An overwhelming authority. I can't undo it." And then Jin is right in front of her. And then we see skill using mutilation. And then we just see her eyes open wide as the next panel shows multiple slices. And then it shows those slices just eviscerating the Plague Monarch's body. And then it shows Jin. Jin just judgment cut one of the monarchs. And then it has her thinking, so this must be death. A heavy darkness that humbles even us, who were created from darkness. How brilliant this darkness is. And her body just disappears. You have defeated Keiresha, the monarch of plague and one of the 9 monarchs. Your level has increased. Your level has increased. Your level has increased. Bruh. Jin just killed one of the monarchs again. He just killed another monarch. This dude. Bruh. And then the Frost Monarch is just saying, how is this possible? He shouldn't be able to use the Shadow Monarch's power to its full extent yet. So we will experience it again. The fear towards one of the strongest monarchs that ruled this universe. Don't be so And then the Beast Monarch says, don't be so afraid of him. He's exhausted. And the fact that he's relying on these small fries implies that he is still incomplete. And an incomplete monarch cannot get in the way of true monarchs. Because it shows the Beast Monarch holding Beru by the throat, while the Frost Monarch has pretty much refrozen the rest of his troops again. And then it shows Beru. It shows Beru being strangled by the Beast Monarch. And then Jin looks in the direction of Beru, thinking, Beru's existence is fading. Did he get rid of the shadow soldier that was put on Thomas Andre the same way? Summon cancel! Beru, come back! And then the system says, you cannot retract the specified subject. You cannot retract the specified subject. And then it shows the Beast Monarch dodging out of the way as Jin narrowly manages to hit him. Like, Jin just flash stepped from where he was and tried to hit the Beast Monarch. But in the process, the Beast Monarch let Beru go. So that happened. And then Jin thinks, I managed to avoid Beru from being extinguished. However, and then the Frost Monarch speaks, saying, King of Beasts, you are right. And then a massive tower of ice just erupts from where the Frost Monarch is. Human, it seems that you're overly confident of your powers, which doesn't have an owner. Even if you use your powers in controlling puppets like these, we simply need to cut the strings so you can't control them anymore. And apparently the Frost Monarch has drawn out his trump card because he now is using a weapon. And his hair has flowed out. Like, I feel like the Frost Monarch is using the absolute extent of his power to try and take down Jin. That's how far Jin has pushed them all. But it shows the Monarch saying, even if you use your powers in controlling puppets like these, we simply need to cut the strings so you can't control them anymore. I will trap the puppets under my authorities and make them go through healing and resurrection over and over again. And he also has like this massive 3-pronged trident with him as well. So this is the first time we're seeing the Frost Monarch pull out a weapon of his own. Then your soldiers will be nothing but parasites that eat away at your mana. Now, what will you do? And it shows the Frost Monarch swinging his trident in the direction of Jin, who blocks it. Now, what will you do? Human? And the force of the blow is massive as it kicks up dust and concrete, and it actually manages to hit Jin in the shoulder. The one prong manages to hit Jin in the shoulder and actually draw blood from Jin. And then the Frost Monarch pulls his trident upwards, and in the process lifts Jin off the ground. And then just in a massive one take, lifts Jin off the ground and swings him and slams him directly into the ground behind him. But when the Frost Monarch looks as the dust settles, he says, "He's not there." And then his eyes open as it shows Jin already behind him trying to stab him through the back of the head. Another thing about the Frost Monarch is he's lost his upper cloak. It just shows him bare-chested, and a black-like marking has gone across his eyes a little bit. But it shows Jin trying to stab him through the back of the head. The Frost Monarch, using the pole side of his trident, pretty much hits Jin in the midsection and sends him flying right back. So now we're seeing the Frost Monarch actually taking the fight seriously. He was just using ice against Jin before, but now the Frost Monarch has gone full melee combat, and he's actually holding his own against Jin. I'm not going to lie. Jin catches himself in the next panel, and he looks, and he's slightly bleeding from the mouth, thinking, he's fast. Then the Frost Monarch says, "Your stealth skill must have a heavy mana consumption. I will put an end to this quickly." And it shows Jin at the far end of the next panel, while the Frost Monarch is standing in front of him. And then it shows the Frost Monarch, had to wait for that one image to load up that for 1 second, shows the Frost Monarch rushing Jin, and they both start clashing with one another. Kamish's daggers against the Frost Monarch's trident, and they're just going over and against each other over and over and over again. And Jin is thinking, movement, sight, breathing, muscle, mana flow. I can see them. If only I can be faster than him by just a little bit. And then the Frost Monarch says, "I don't know what you're plotting, but it's no use." And then he pulls out a scythe. Wait, this is not the first time we've seen him use a weapon. He used a scythe the first time, and that's when Jin caught it. Sorry. Had to correct myself before you guys corrected me. He pulls out a scythe along with his pole arm and slashes in the direction of Jin, and it also produces ice as well. So it's not just a cutting weapon, but it's also an ice creation weapon as well. But Jin is not in the spot where he was. And Jin has already dashed to the back of the Frost Monarch, with Jin, eyes glowing, saying, "I got him." And before he says, "I got him," the Frost Monarch looks back at Jin and smiles. And then the pages, the color of these pages invert. What in the world just happened? And then Bayek is looking on in shock. Leonard Nierman's looking on in shock. And the Beast Monarch is behind Jin. And it looks like the Beast Monarch impaled Jin with his hand. Jin's feet were frozen by the Frost Monarch, and the Beast Monarch just impaled him through the back. Like all claws, just straight through the back. With the Beast Monarch saying, "I guess you're nothing without the speed you're so confident in." And then it shows Jin coughing up blood. And now we have Jin's status. This is the first time we've seen Jin's status in a long time. Let's go through it. It shows Jin coughing up blood, and then it gives us another panel with Jin's stats. Name, Sung Jin-Woo, level 146. Class, Shadow Monarch. Title, Demon Hunter plus 2 others. Hit points, 93,300. Magic points, 155,720. Fatigue, 0. Strength, 324. Stamina, 320. Agility, 340. Intelligence, 340. Perception, 321. Ability points, 0. Physical damage reduction, 65%. Magical damage reduction, 44%. Passive skill, unknown, level max. Tenacity, level 1. Advanced dagger arts, level max. And that's the end of the chapter. It literally ends with Jin being impaled through the back by the Beast Monarch. Okay. What do I think? Okay, so let me just say this. This was a fantastic chapter. Jin just completely destroys Keiresha, the Plague Monarch. Just eviscerates her. So that's one monarch down. But he still has to contend with the Frost Monarch and the Beast Monarch. There's something in my eye. You ever have like this sort of film over your eye? It's not like an eyelash or something, but it's something that's over the center of your eye and it just feels like it glazes over. It's really weird. I hate that. I really do hate that. Jin, fighting the monarchs, defeats Keiresha. And then he's fighting the Frost Monarch, who decides, okay, I've been using magic all this time, but now it's time to actually get serious. So he brings out his trident, and he's fighting Jin, and he's actually keeping up with Jin and knocking Jin back. Then it gets to the point where Jin thinks he's got him, but the Frost Monarch has shown to be extremely cunning in this melee fight. Being able to contend and keep up with Jin, and not only that, but get Jin to a position where he would be so confident in his speed that Jin will use his speed to get behind him. And then he freezes Jin's feet, and then the Beast Monarch just impales him through the chest. Just catching Jin off guard. I hope Papa Wu appears soon. We're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to wait until next week. This was a legendary chapter. Yes, it was. I don't know what the passive unknown is. I'm pretty sure it's revealed in the light novel, but I don't care. I'd rather find out through the chapters themselves. Jin still has the Baron heal potions. He can still do it. We're literally just gonna have to wait and see. Oh, what a way to leave us on a cliffhanger. Jin literally getting impaled through the chest in multiple spots. This isn't like him getting sliced up the back and then status effect recovery just comes in and saves him. This is him getting like a Hulk-sized hand with the fingers just jabbed straight through his back and out his chest. We're just gonna have to wait and see how things go. I will say this though, Jin has, up until this point, Jin has been coasting a little bit. The only time he actually had to put a little bit of effort into fighting was the first time he was fighting Thomas Andre, and he didn't know exactly what Thomas Andre could do. Afterwards, he gotten used to it, and he got stronger because of it, but now we have Jin, even though he's already defeated a monarch and he's leveled up, Jin can still be caught off guard. So it's not like Jin is an automatic win button. Because I've seen it before. People are saying, oh, I hope Jin gets beaten. And some people seem to think that Jin just comes out on top without a scratch on him, and it's like it's like an instant win for Jin. But this chapter just proves that is not the case, because the dude just got impaled. So it's not like it's not like he's covered in so much plot armor that no one can ever lay a finger on him. May have seemed like that a couple of chapters, but this story just reminded us, hey, even the main character can bleed. Status effect recovery must have a countdown so he can't use it again. I think it's like once every time he does like the daily quests and everything. Also, the guy that was talking to the sniper, I got massive, maybe that was Jin's dad vibes from him. He was all like, just sit back and watch. I would not be surprised if that was Jin's dad. He was just standing there, he had hair all over his face, and I'm thinking, who do we know has hair like that, who bodied Dong Su way back when they arrested him and tried to interrogate him. Who do we know has hair like that? So I get massive Papa Wu vibes from him. But I'm not gonna just throw my ducats in there and just think, okay, that's automatically him. But we're just gonna have to see. We're just gonna have to see how things go for Jin in the next chapter, because we all know this is not the end for Jin. We all know it. This is a dire situation from him. But this is not the one that's going to end it. Plague Monarch died kind of quickly. I wonder if she was the weakest Monarch. I wouldn't be surprised, Gente, because she really relied a lot on long-range attacks and her massive multitude of bugs to pretty much be the mass force for her attacks. Like, she created a giant humanoid version of herself to try and fight Jin, and she hid inside of it, rather than confront him directly. So I would think that she's better suited to long-range fighting than up-close battles. So that, I feel like the reason why she got taken out like as quickly as she did was because she's that type of fighter. We all know Jin's a melee fighter. If he gets in close, and if you're weaker than him, it's all over. So I'm not surprised that K-Resha got, snuffed out the way she did. And the fact that she says that, oh, hold on, I gotta read what she says again, because she actually says something really good for her character, I want to say. Let me go back up here. I'm not going to keep you guys too long. I'm just going to keep giving you my words. I'm in the way of chat. I'm sorry. I hope I wasn't too in the way. Jin uses mutilation on her. She gets eviscerated, and she says, "So this must be death. A heavy darkness that humbles even us who were created from darkness. How brilliant this darkness is." And then she just disappears in an explosion of dust. So, the concept of death is not something that the monarchs themselves have really considered when you think about it. Because for her to say, so this is what death is like, it must mean that all these monarchs have been so powerful for so long that they never had someone like Jin come along and threaten their hierarchy. And she actually is humbled by, when you think about it, she's actually kind of humbled by this happening to her, by her actually dying. So this must be death, a heavy darkness that humbles even us who were created from darkness. How brilliant this darkness is. And then she's dead. And then the Frost Monarch is surprised that Jin was even able to defeat her, saying that Jin shouldn't be able to use the Shadow Monarch's power to its full extent yet. So we will experience it again, the fear towards one of the strongest monarchs that ruled this universe. So Frost Monarch is pretty much reaffirming that Ashborn, the former Shadow Monarch, was the strongest of them all. And the Frost Monarch is pretty much admitting that the other monarchs were fearful of the dude. So we will experience it again. Again means that it happened the first time, which means that the Shadow Monarch must have put every single one of these other monarchs in their place for the Frost Monarch to say, we will experience it again, the fear towards one of the strongest monarchs that ruled this universe. That's scary when you think about it. Ashborn was so strong that he put fear in the other monarchs. This is why I love this story. I really do. But apparently, here's one thing though. The whole stint, I was actually really expecting to see more from Jin's commanders. I was actually expecting to see more from them. They only got like one panel each when they were fighting some other monarchs. And then later in the chapter, they're all refrozen by the Frost Monarch again. So, that happened. Hold on, let me see. It would be something if it was a reason why I said that, because when he first appeared, he had a friendly, optimistic personality, and that guy seems to have a dark vibe. We'll just have to see, C-Dez. We're just going to have to see in the next chapter. And my controller just died. Sorry, I've just been playing a ton of Persona 5 Royal. I have going on about 300 and something hours in it already. And I'm getting close to platinuming the game. I just need to complete the story and go to the Maid Cafe and then evolve one of my confidants of personas. And then the rest is just story-related trophies, and then I'll have a platinum games, and then I can finally play Persona 5 Strikers. I can finally take the plastic off. It's still sealed in the plastic. Let me see what Cohagen just brought up. Jin just sitting with Bernie Sanders. Okay, that's good. That's good. I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I thought this was a 10 out of 10 chapter. We're just going to have to see what happens to Jin next week. I apologize if anyone is coming up late to this reaction. This will be up for you guys later if you guys want to see it from the beginning. But I don't want to keep you guys any longer just by rambling about the story. I can only say what's happening in the story right now, and I don't want to risk people talking about light novel things like, oh, this didn't happen in the light novel, because I frankly don't care about the light novel while I'm reading through these individual chapters. But I will say this, for everyone who is here, whether you're new or whether you've been here for a long time, thank you for the continued support of this channel. I love doing this. I look forward to any moment that I get to sit in this chair or play a game for you guys or whatever. I just love it. This is where my talents lie. This is what I enjoy to do. But the thing is, for you guys concerning my channel is, as long as you're entertained, that is all that I seek from any of you. So I thank you for supporting this channel all these years. We're getting closer to 2,400 subscribers. We are so close. Like it's like I'm hitting I'm hitting 100. I'm just hitting numbers for my channel that I haven't seen in such a short amount of time, and I'm all but humbled that you guys see me as worthy of your time. But that's all I got. I really hope you enjoyed this reaction. We're just going to have to look forward to the next one next Wednesday. Hopefully Chugong is still doing good, so that way it won't get delayed. But we're going to have to see what happens to Jin and whether this is the defining moment of his life ever since the beginning of this story, or if someone's gonna come in and save Jin. Will Leonard Neerman finally get a moment to shine, or is everyone just watching with bated breath of the fate for Sung Jin-Woo? We're just gonna have to see. But like I said, that's all I got. Don't want to ramble too long, so hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Good God, I love this. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then consider subscribing. It's not a requirement, it's just a suggestion. Because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples. I love my job so much, you guys don't even know.